breakup with my venture capital, with a very well sustained business. Um, my wife left me like 6 months later, unbeknownst, right? And I don't mean that to ask for forgiveness or anything from anyone. Just it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I tell everyone this: in every dark, there's a light, right? I mean, there's a spark of light, and in that spark of light, I met someone in the fitness industry who had been a friend, and I reconnected with him. And his name's Brian Grasso, and his wife Carrie Campbell. And in my darkest of times, they were there basically because they had been there. They jumped in the hole with me, right? And there's this story of the man in the hole where this person sits in the hole and they look up and the person comes down and they're stuck in this hole and they just see this light outside and they ask that person, they say, wait, don't walk by. I'm stuck in this hole. And they tell you, and the person looks down, they said, listen, wait, I know how to get you out of the hole.
Okay.
I have a vision board. We're going to vision your life out of this hole.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And then you get all excited and you crawl up out of this hole and it doesn't work. And then you fall back down again, right? A lot of people do that in the weight loss industry.
Yeah.
Right? It's like another industry. Well, one day, Brian Grasso jumped in the hole with me. And you know what? He put his arm on my shoulder and he said, I've been where you are. I know how you feel. And there's a way out. And in that moment, through the darkest of times, he showed me something that has driven me from that day forward, that I repay back tenfold to everyone I come across for free. And I do it for a living too. But is this, all the things that we want in life. If I had to swing a magic wand to you, Jonathan, I said, Jonathan, if there's one thing in your life that you'd want to change right now, what would it be? And here's the thing. Everyone has at least one thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
From the richest person in the world to the poorest. Everyone has one thing. But here's the most important thing. We sell a boatload of strategies, tactics, to that one thing to people all over the world.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And let me ask you, that one thing that you've tried to fix over and over again, how many times have you tried to fix that one thing?
Since
oh my gosh, it's ridiculous, right?
30 years worth of it, Chris.
Right. Here's the thing. We are the most overweight, depressed, most anxious, sad society we've ever been, and we're also the most wealthiest and most educated ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To remove that one thing in our life, to succeed at that one thing in our life, we have to eliminate the reasons why we need that one thing in our life. Right? Let me give you another way. If I'm 30 pounds overweight, I don't need another nutrition program, another fitness program.
No.
I don't need another coach to tell me to exercise because I know it. I don't need another nutrition program because let's be honest, I know an apple is healthier than a donut.
Sure.
Okay?
Everyone does.
need to eliminate all the reasons why I'm already 30 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
And that is the crux of our society in health, wealth, and relationships. And now I use those three because you can really segment anything in our life under those three: relationships with our parents, our spouse, wealth with finances, with our happiness, health, our weight, our aesthetics, our blood work, diabetes. There are reasons why we are the way we are.
Yeah.
And what we need to understand is we don't even know what we don't know. All we know is what we have today. We don't understand that we are a lifetime of influences that drive our perception of ourselves, which drives our belief system, which drives our actions, habits, and behaviors. And what does society teach us to do, Jonathan? They drive home, you got to change that habit. Sure. But I tell you, in the segment of that sentence, your perception of yourself forms your belief system. Your belief system forms your actions, habits, and behaviors.
Yeah.
If I try to change my habits, but I haven't changed anything in front of it, what happens? My habits are going to stay the same because we have this story in our head, this narrative, this unconscious story that plays on repeat, and it comes back and it needs to be paid when you try to change it. So if I can change my story, a story that someone gave me, I can then start eliminating my limits and achieving the things I want in life.
So can I ask you can I ask you a question then?
Go ahead.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll take the idea of somebody who's a smoker, right? And really
Yeah.
they want to be healthy. They don't want to be, you know, finding it hard to
Mhm.
go up the stairs or whatever. And so what I've heard, and I'm going to ask you because it sounds like you're going in this direction, is actually easier to start creating a new habit than focus on giving up the old habit. Now, I want to talk about beliefs, but and I'm not sure how this works, Chris. This is more a
Mhm.
question from me. So if I'm a smoker and I know I want to be healthy, it's easier to say, okay, well, let me walk 1 mile a day. And then
Mhm.
slowly, you know, maybe a month later, 2 miles a day. And then I'm starting to feel the benefits of the walking. And I'm started thinking, okay, well, I don't need the smoking as much anymore. Is that
Mhm.
the way beliefs work as well? Or do we need to somehow take a bulldozer, get the cigarettes, rip them out of the house, make sure you can't pay for them or even go to a shop or whatever? Or is it a combination? How do our beliefs change in the best way? Because that sounds like the direction you're going, you know?
It's a great question. It's a really great question. It's insightful. And when you look at addiction, because nicotine is an addiction,
Yeah,
addiction is a self-sabotaging behavior. Okay.
sure, sure,
So why am I self-sabotaging myself? That's the question.
sure,
Okay.
yeah,
So why? So what we do is you have to look at the neurology of the brain to understand why I choose self-sabotaging behaviors. Now, that could be smoking, drugs, alcohol,
sure,
nicotine. Okay, by the way, scrolling YouTube, watching, scrolling on Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram. Like avoidance behavior is whatever it is for me. Is Facebook my smoking? It could be,
sure,
right?
sure,
It,
sure,
what it is for you. It's just what we chose, right? But the truth is, I need to understand my language, my story, why I need that. Like, why do I need to do that? And as I start understanding, and this is where self awareness comes in, right? Not self awareness in the kitschiness of the phrase, but self awareness so I take accountability and I have an acceptance of why I do the things I do.
sure,
Where did they come from? And that language, as we look, and it's like a book, Jonathan. You're like on chapter 37.
yeah,
I got to flip backwards in the pages with my language and I got to start unlayering that unconscious narrative to understand why did I choose smoking as my avoidance behavior? Was it an experience? Was I influenced? What
sure,
was that influence or experience? How did it form the neural tags in my brain that decided that's what I wanted? Like, how do I feel after I'm smoking? Do I feel guilty, ashamed? Like all these negative emotive behaviors that we have to understand them and we have to unravel them and then we have to start changing them. We have to change that narrative from what we think of in the past with that one thing, and we have to start being positive around it and start forming a new narrative. So it's really a deconstruction so much of your mindset.
yeah,
Then there's actual reconstruction of that mindset, because here's what science tells us, okay? And we teach this in our neurology of coaching certification, the only one out there. I'm not selling it, I'm saying this because
sure,
this is new science, okay? Your brain, based on the influence of your life, the time that you can crawl and take in sensory input, hear, see, smell, taste, touch, feel, you start forming neural tags in your brain,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Those neural tags are negative or positive, okay? Most people, because we're wired as a fight and flight being, right?
yeah,
We're designed to run away from the tiger, to protect the village, right?
sure,
We're driven that way, but we're also driven to live a happy life. But those neural tags become very strong in our brain because what happens is we form a narrative around the negative. And as I move through life and I become repetitive in my steps through life, that neural tag, like a muscle,
yeah,
that reinforced repetitively gets bigger.
sure.
We call that fate. We call
Faith.
that's personality, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah,
We,
yeah.
we think that that's the way I am because that's the way I am. And here I am telling you it's not. You had no idea that you knew that. And here's the interesting thing: when you look at how people learn
Yeah,
how to swing a golf club, how to sailboat, how to do a sailboat, all
yeah,
right, how to write a paper correctly. It doesn't matter what we learn. Your brain has to learn in 4 stages. It is, you can't go through the 4 stage, you can't skip stages.
Okay.
So if I want to change a habit, if I want to change my belief system, you start with you're unconsciously competent, right? You don't know what you don't know until
Sure.
someone tells you you don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you become unconsciously conscious, which means your conscious brain has to actually work on it, but your subconscious doesn't have a clue what to do. And in stage 2 is where everyone gets stuck. I call it like the fog, right? You're in a weight loss program let's take New Year's because it's coming up.
Yeah.
You're eating healthy, you're exercising a lot, and all of a sudden, life gets in the way. You have a meeting, you can't get to the gym. You meet some friends out, and oh man, you want to eat healthy, but all your friends are eating bad, so I'm gonna eat bad. Then what happens is your story kicks in. Oh, I do this every time I fail. Every time I try to lose weight, this happens to me. Now you're playing the victim.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
And the next, instead of saying I'll just get back on track, we go, oh, here we go again. I screwed up one day. I'm not going to lose any weight. Like, we can rewrite that scenario any way we want.
We play it again and again.
Right. You don't have the tools to move forward. You just know that, boy, I keep doing this to myself, but I don't know what to do. Now, as you start consciously using tools to change your mindset, or your growth, you move into stage 3, which is consciously competent. It means you have to actually think about it every day. That's forming the new neural tags in your brain with repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition is habit change, right? But repetition, the way I teach it to you, is we're teaching you the things to look at your language, undo that negative language and look at it positively, look at how your negative emotions affect your life and change them and so they're positive. And as that neural tag is repeated, it actually gets bigger and it actually prunes the old one off, right? So it actually shrinks. They show it in the brain, it shrinks. So you start getting that repetition. So now you're consciously thinking of it. So you're journaling about it. You have people wear bands. I mean, there's so many things we could do.
Sure.
But what happens is the more you do it, at some point, you become unconscious brain. Your unconscious work does it for you.
So just for the little bit I know about the brain, Chris, is we stop firing the old synapses and we start generating these new habits and keep firing and firing and firing. And these sort of get old and decay because they're being used less and less. And these are becoming a powerful sort of engine going forward. Okay.
Right. So that's the new story, right? That's the new narrative. So let's use the weight loss example again. I wanted to lose 30 pounds. I did. I have done the repetitive work. I was consciously competent. I kept repeating it. Now I've kept the 30 pounds off for 10 years. My story is I'm not 30 pounds overweight. My story is I'm a fit person.
Absolutely.
Right? The narrative changed because I did the tools that I was given over and over and over again. I understood that there's going to be highs and lows, right? And it's how I manage the lows that gets me back to the high. And when I say high, just the valley, right? The valley of feeling I failed to accomplishing. So what happens is I like to say we have to keep 2 feet on the ground, eyes on the horizon. So as I go down in those valleys, my feet are always on the ground because I'm always going to be able to see up, right? So it's those conscious thoughts that we have to think about over and over and over again that keep us moving forward. And there is a scientific way to do that. And that's, I think, what's been missing in the world, right? With the age of the internet, we got into this age of information, right? We were just inundated. Inundated with books,
too much.
Seminars, Robbins, Rachel Hollis, Brendan Bouchard, blah, blah, blah. And we did great stuff.
I've read them all, I would say, Chris, you know.
Here's the thing, okay?
Yeah.
I love them, and they changed my life and led me to where I am today. But here's the difference. They don't tell you how. How can I take what you've given me and taught me? How can I repeat that every day? Change. So I don't have to keep buying your book.
Yeah.
I don't have to search for a new seminar. How can I get from stuck to sustainable for the rest of my life? And when I'm stuck, because I'm going to get stuck again, because no one's perfect, how can I take those tools and apply them for the rest of my life?
Fantastic.
That is the beauty of what we do.
So, I'm just thinking now, I've been to every Tony Robbins seminar all around the world. I've been to Roger Hamilton around the world, and I've read, I would say, hundreds of books of this nature. And I thank God for it as well, as in, it has made me who I am. And in crucial moments, distinctions that I might have read or learned in a course help me make a better decision.
Yes.
But putting that day to day, you asked me, was there something I hadn't done for, that bothers me? If there was one thing I could change, I would. And it's been bothering me for 30 years. And I've never really put that daily habit in place to fix it. And that's why it's still with me. So it seems very clear. So can I ask you a question then, Chris, as in, how did you get from, your original understanding, or at least from what I've read about you and you've told me, is physiology and fitness? Now, that's very body focused in a way. And our body and our mind are not different. I'm not saying that, but you've definitely gone into, okay, the body follows the mind or the head. How did you come into the point of saying, hold on, this is a really important area of focus, and shifting from what sounds like a body focus to a sort of a maybe a mind focus in what you do, Chris?
Fantastic question. I'm going to give you two answers, okay? Because I think they're both really important.
Yeah.
The first one is this: being someone who's run, I've worked with the Redskins, the Washington Redskins, as a nutritionist, strength coach. I've run thousands of people through weight loss programs. Here's the thing: I always knew they were coming back, right? And I knew that I could get them to lose weight in 8 weeks as a group, but I couldn't literally change them for what I knew at the time.
Okay.
I knew what I knew, but I always felt guilty because I knew they were going to come back. And I felt like I was lying to them. Like I would sell them, sell them on hope that this is the time they're going to lose that 30 pounds forever. Okay?
Yeah.
It wasn't until Brian told me that you can give all the tactics and strategies you want, but if you don't eliminate the reasons why they're already overweight, or they can't go to the gym, or they don't stay with the gym, you're just going to repeat yourself over and over again. So that's when it became more about the mindset, the mind, okay? And mindset is not a kitschy phrase because, I work with professional athletes, CEOs, I work with autistic kids, and I do it to give back. Like I teach business owners to undo their own stuff so they can build the business they want. But this, as a fitness professional, what they teach you, and it's no fault of anyone, because remember, I always believe when you teach somebody something, you inherently are teaching them from your heart because you understand that this is what you know, and I'm giving it to you. But here's the truth, okay? We are taught that our body drives our mind, okay? I could give you some studies to show you that's completely false for this reason. Your narrative in your head, the story you tell yourself, drives the physiology of your body.
Yeah.
Right? It changes so if I go back to my statement, the perception I have of myself, which is my belief system in my head, forms my actions, habits, behaviors. That's not a physical thing. That's a mindset thing, because my mind is driving the bad behaviors.
Sure.
It's driving the thoughts that drive me to the bad habits. Okay? It's not get out of my head into my heart because my heart's driving my head, because the truth is we're an interconnected being. We're not interdependent. Right?
Sure.
So mindset is we become what we think in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you this keep it simple study. All right? At Stanford, they did this ice cream study where they had 180 calorie ice cream and a 620 calorie ice cream. Before it, the 180 calorie group and the 620 calorie group took a test.
Yeah.
And that test, their mindset, how they felt, et cetera, et cetera. They both gave blood work.
Okay.
180 calorie group ate their ice cream, the healthy ice cream. The 620 calorie group ate the unhealthy ice cream.
Gotcha.
They come back later in the day. They retake the mindset test. The 180 calorie group said they felt amazing, that they did something really good for themselves. They had a great day.
Okay.
The 620 calorie group felt awful. They felt guilty, ashamed that they ate such a bad ice cream.
Okay, yeah.
They redid the blood work. The 180 calorie group, the blood work was pristine. It was the same as it went in as it came out. The 620 calorie was good when it came in, bad when it came out.
Gotcha.
Both groups ate the 620 calorie ice cream. Okay.
Yeah. So
There's another study. Here's another one. They did a meniscus tear in a knee with a control group.
gotcha.
One of the group, fake knee surgery. They put marks on their knee, cut, but didn't do the knee surgery. Did the knee surgery on the other people. Those, after 2 years, those that had no knee surgery with a meniscus tear had the same exact success as those that had the meniscus tear surgery.
Wow. Wow.
Because your mindset
Mm-hmm.
drives your physiology. So if my mind is telling me I'm sick, I'm going to be sick. If my mindset tells me I'm depressed, I'm going to act depressed. My body's going to elicit the hormonal response of being depressed, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying depression and anxiety is fake. It's not at all.
No.
It's understanding how can we understand ourselves to remove those type of things from our body, right? So to me, the mindset aspect, if I don't help someone become healthy here, anything else I do is going to be temporary for those few that are successful. And the fitness industry, nutrition industry make a living out of showing those type of pictures.
Fantastic.
But what does that do to the mindset of all the millions and millions of other people who aren't successful? It solidifies and strengthens their negative narrative.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so, Chris, this sounds like, the answer to a lot of questions because, I said I've read books, I've done all the courses, flown around the world to do them in different places, but the implementation was sort of haphazard. It was my own interpretation all the time. And it sounds like what you were able to sort of help somebody with is whatever the implementation that needs to be, you can help them drive that into a reality within their day to day rather than just staying
Yeah.
at this abstract level of, okay, I have a new concept, I have an aha moment, wow, it's brilliant, but then it fizzles out in their actual day to day life, and it was a wonderful memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's the way we do it is so simple. To me, it's like how the guy invented the sticky note with a piece of gum and a piece of paper on the wall. Like it's so simple that people are like, we've been conditioned to think overcomplicated is successful,
Sure.
right? It's so simple, all right? Now, when you look at the brain and how the brain learns habits, it has to be slow over time. So you basically drip it in.
Yeah.
You teach it, you reinforce it. People are going to be unconsciously competent. They're not going to be able to get it all the time. So you have to reteach some areas. So here's how we do it. It's really simple, okay? We first teach you to understand what you say to yourself, okay? We do
Sure.
that through journaling. And by the way, when I say journaling, for some guys, they're going to be like, I'm not going to journal. You don't have to. You can speak to a video. You can
Sure.
do whatever. But the idea is you go a lifetime saying things to yourself that you would never, ever allow someone else to say to you.
Sure.
We say those things to ourselves. But here's the thing. We're so used to saying them, Jonathan, we don't hear them.
Yeah.
Until you start hearing them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the suck part, okay? But here's the beauty. When you start hearing them and you bring them forward in your subconscious brain, and you start thinking about them, and you start understanding the lineage of where they came from, the influence, your brain starts dealing with them. So then it becomes easier to change that narrative, right?
Fantastic.
You can change the language from a negative to a positive because you've looked at it as a negative. Or if I have anxiety about something in the future, I understand that I'm just making that up. Like I'm literally giving myself anxiety about something that I'm making up.
Yeah.
And if making it up, I'll ask you, like, how many times does that actually come true? Okay, let's journal. Let's talk about that. Let's journal around that and just so you understand. All right, this isn't counseling or psychology. This is just mindset. Okay, now, the second thing we do is we teach people to find all the little wins in a day. Why? Okay, here's why. Because dopamine in your brain is the greatest thing ever. But we only know dopamine like when we get off a roller coaster and we get that rush.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not the aha moment in our life that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the goal. That's the intention we're working for. The small dopamine hits we get a day by counting the wins. The things that you just don't see, that once you start seeing, are the small dopamine steps every day that get you to the next day. So we only focus on the day. So let me give you an example. I had a great conversation with Jonathan today. I got to talk endlessly and loud and proud about what I've learned. I've shared my story, right? I had a great morning with my kids. I had breakfast. I had a great conversation with my mentor, Brian Grasso, today. You know, I didn't make it to the gym today, but you know what? It's okay. That's a win. I'm going to go tomorrow. Like, there's a win in every little thing we do in every moment of our life. We don't see it. We only look for the aha moment every day. And how often does that happen?
Rarely.
When you can look and find those little wins in a day, you start seeing them all day, every day. You see an argument and someone says, oh, that person's an asshole. I'm like, not really. I really liked how they talked about that. And that person really handled that really well. Like, you see the world differently.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's two. That's our second one. The third one, and we don't do all these all at once. They're all bled in. The third one is what we call imagination theater. We want you every day to think about or write about your goal, how you're going to feel at the end of your goal. How are you going to look? Where are you going to be? What's the weather like? Who's with you? Like, it's like you're going to a movie and you're sitting there with yourself and you're waiting for the movie to go, and there you are at the end of your goal. Like,
fantastic.
Seeing that, dopamine.
Yeah.
You live that every day. Athletes talk about this all the time. Why do you think boys in the driveway count down the last second shot?
Absolutely.
That is meditation. That is conditioning their body for the moment when it happens. We just don't do it as human beings. We're like, you want me to imagine? I'm an adult. I'm like, do you think? Like, that's creativity. You imagine all day long, all the time. But let's change how you imagine. Not the negative stuff. Let's imagine positive stuff. And then the last thing, what we do, because we know people have highs and lows, is we pick 3 to 5 things we call high yielding tasks, or we use direction review. It's like a business plan, like what you're going to do every day for 90 days, right?
Yeah.
I focus on these things, 90 days, I'm going to get to my business goal. You are no different. This is your life business plan. What are your 3 to 5 things every day, Chris? Well, let me tell you. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to journal today. I'm going to count my wins around my journal in that area.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I work out every day. I'm going to make sure I hug my kids every day. I'm going to make sure that I connect with 50 people every day in the world, because that's my business. If I do those 3 to 5 things every day, anything else I do is gravy. Wonderful. But if I get those 3 to 5 things done, I have taken another step towards my goal, not backwards, towards my goal. So even in the worst of days, in the worst of moments, all I have to do is focus on those 3 to 5 things today. You know, it's really interesting, Jonathan. They've talked about this. The Navy SEALs, there's 2 types, right?
Yeah.
Those that quit, those that succeed. So what they do, every BUDS program, they interview them both. The only difference between those that quit and those that succeeded, those that quit worried about how long before BUDS was going to end. When are we going to be done? What am I going to do? Like, they perseverated and they got themselves worked up. Those that completed BUDS program, the only thing they worried about was what they were focusing on that day.
Fantastic.
Only difference.
Fantastic.
But as humans, we don't do that. We worry about, where am I going to be in 5 years? What's that person going to think about me at that party? Like we perseverate on so many other things than what we need to do that takes care of me to move me forward, whether that's me personally or professionally, family, financially. It doesn't matter what we're working on. We just build it in and we just do it every day. And we check in.
That's brilliant, Chris. And I can feel the momentum of doing that on a daily basis would just, you know, even I'm thinking of it as a first time, but if I could do that for a week in a row and then 2 weeks in a row and then a month in a row, I'm not sure I would know myself in 2 months.
And that's the beauty, right? You go from stuck to sustainable, because everyone thinks we got to be perfect, but there's no perfect. We're only perfectly imperfect.
Fantastic.
Beings, right? And as we go through that, in those little moments, when you're working towards your goal, all of a sudden it's there. You're like, There's my aha moment. Or I'm in a business and I'm working in my business or building a business, and all of a sudden, one week I make $50,000
Brilliant.
because it wasn't what I did that day. It's everything I did before. It's all those little wins along the way. It's all those 3 to 5 things I did every day that got
Brilliant,
me to
Chris.
where I need to go.
I love it.
We
Yeah,
all
I
know
love
why.
the you're about the execution of it as well. I
Yes.
really like that. There's actually something to do every day to make this momentum go on. So,
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I think that's absolutely fantastic. You've actually walked us through how someone can make those changes. Now, obviously, people are listening to this once, and you need to maybe listen to it multiple times or talk to
Mm-hmm.
people who implement it like you on a regular basis. Where could people find you then if they wanted to get in contact? Just listen to your content, watch what you have to
Great.
say.
Yeah, I really
Where
appreciate
do
that. So we do things a little backwards because we want to teach people to be fiscally self-management of their money. So if I got to teach that, I got to do that. So what I do right now is I use my Facebook page as my webpage
okay?
because it's free. So it's just facebook.com/cmattice07.
Okay, we'll have that link for sure
Yep,
at the bottom of the
that
video.
simple. Yep, that simple.
Okay, which is kind of unusual, Chris, because normally
Yep.
there's a website, there's all the different social media, etc.,
Right.
etc.
It's I could give all that, but if simplicity is how I teach and consistency, and I need to teach people to go against the influence of society. I need to walk the walk. Like those that work for us, that work in our business, that are our colleagues, like they journal the 4 pillars every day. Like when we get together and we do retreats,
Yeah,
we work on the 4 pillars. We work on ourselves before we do anything because we need to be the person we need to be what I need to be in my life,
so to be the
right?
walking example as well for anyone that you work with.
100%. 100%. Any bottleneck that we have in life, things that we can't achieve, we can't succeed, or we play victim, it's our mindset. And when your mindset's right, you will achieve what you want to achieve.
Fantastic, Chris. What a wonderful way to, I would say, come to a close. I would like to say thanks very much for your energy. I said I look for driven people. I couldn't have asked for a better, shining example of not only you being driven, but wanting to give that drive to other people. So I want to thank you very much for your time. And we'll obviously leave the link to your Facebook page here and wish you the best of luck. And I will personally continue to follow you because I really like the insights that you give on a daily basis. And thank you very much, Chris.
Appreciate it, man. You're doing great stuff here, buddy. Thank you for your time.
Take care. Thank you, Chris.
Pleasure, buddy. Take care, man.
Cheers.